Howdy y'all, Michael here. Today is Saturday, March 28th, 2026, and I am at the DFW Car Museum. And I didn't even know this thing existed. It is absolutely free, so let's go check it out together. Come hang out with me. It is the DFW Car and Toy Museum, and I did not know about this place, but apparently they are a year old because on April 4th they're going to be celebrating their first anniversary here, and I am really interested in this. As you come in, you have a fake topiary VW bug, and it just looks like a frame. It's not really a car, it's too small to be one. But it does have metal wheels with the VW hubcaps. Just signed in. Starting with the microcars here. You just need your email address and how you found out about them. I found out about them by watching the Carpetbagger on YouTube. So these are the microcars. They're very much popular in the European market, not necessarily here. Still very cool. This is a Fiat 500. I guess it's the original Fiat 500s. They're a little bit bigger nowadays. This one has a neat canopy with a skeleton driving it. It looks like you got a small back seat back there. A very futuristic steering wheel there. Apparently there's a show with Urkel in there. I really didn't watch the show. I think it was called Family Matters, but this is actually the door that you open to get in there, and tilts the steering wheel out so we can sit in that seat. Get two people in there, or one large person. Bit of a tight fit though. So from the early 2000s they had what was called a Corbin, which is a trike. It's all electric, single passenger vehicle. Really, really tiny in there. Really snug. Had a CD player in there. More of these Fiats. They've got a few of the Fiats here. It's more of a pickup truck. This looks more like a golf cart. So I think you can put it on the golf course, or maybe some private property called the Trident. Lots of mini cars here. But this is what's interesting. This is the Messerschmitt. Messerschmitt obviously was an aircraft company, but they were trying to make cars that were affordable. And this is pretty small. It's got like a bicycle type handles there, or motorcycle type handles, but not for the big guy like me. It does have a canopy over it, just like the Messerschmitt airplanes did.
This one kind of looks
How cool is that?
It looks like a submarine.
You see one of those on the road, people are going to notice. A lot of them are BMWs and Fiats. BMW is obviously a German manufacturer, Fiat being Italian. But here we have one of the Japanese ones. This is a Daihatsu Midget. I'm going to have to back up to see this one. It's more of a utility type vehicle. Has a little bed in the back. It looks like it's actually been used quite a bit. In fact, I was looking at the front, and up to this past year, it was registered in Ellis County. So this is our car registration. The police here normally don't ask for registration because it's on our windshield. And I got shocked. Not touching the cars. They asked us not to touch the cars. I got pretty close to it. There's another Daihatsu that kind of looks like a Volkswagen bus. Checkerboard pattern floor. Kind of a creamsicle color dash. It's a little sun faded, but definitely used. I like the windows here. It's like an airplane. This would be a nice little camper van here. What does that sticker say? Kids in the car. Apparently it's 350 kilograms. Love the look on this one. This is a Renault. Is that French? I'm trying to remember who makes Renault. It's a larger size mini car, but still pretty tiny. Little manual shifter there on the floor. Looks rather neat from the front, but you kind of look here, you can see a little H on the steering wheel and dash. And the mirror's missing. This one's the Alazam. It's actually made by Mazda, but it's actually imported here. It's got cup holders there, little springs. Of course, the seat's on the right side there. I'm guessing that's some kind of inspection or registration sticker right there. I can't tell you. This is all in Japanese. But it sure does look sporty. This is the Velorex, and it's made in Czechoslovakia for Czechoslovakians, but it's for people with disabilities, which I find interesting. You were able to get one of these after you had a doctor's visit and they declared you disabled. It's made with a motorcycle engine. It's another trike, but I just think it's pretty amazing. I don't see any thing down there that really helps with, you know, if you don't have, it has standard pedals and all that, but there may be something there I'm not aware of. But very interesting. Very interesting back there too. I'd like to know more of the story of this car. I had no idea that Vespa made mini cars. And this is the Vespa 400. Looks like it may have had some modifications done. Italian car, obviously. The Piaggio. Two-stroke twin is in there. Little motorcycle engine. But front right there is actually a drawer, and you pull it out, that's where your 12-volt battery is. This one apparently Italian, sold to somebody in France, and eventually came over here to the US. So lots of history here I've never known about. Well, this is called the Freeway. It's a hyper mileage vehicle. I thought, you know, with the bottom there first, it was going to be an amphibious vehicle, but no. It's a hyper mileage vehicle. It's got a small seat up front. Is that a seat in the back? No, it's not a seat in the back. It's a one-person driver. Helps you with your hyper mileage. But it's got a single headlight up front. Probably something you need a motorcycle license for. But interesting concept. It didn't say what the mileage was on it, so might research that one a little bit more in the future. So this one's a little bit bigger as far as the front loaders. You got the door open that tilts the steering wheel out. But you definitely got a little bit more room there in the front bench seat. It also has back doors here, so you got people in the back. These would be cool to start seeing in the street again. Tell you what, if gas prices don't go back down, you may be seeing those more often. I don't think they pass safety inspection, but they sure are cool. Of course, in the mini car section, you're going to have mini car toys here. Going up the stairs to the second floor here, and you have a bunch of die-cast first responder vehicles. None of these have I seen out on the road. It's still pretty cool. And just some regular cars underneath here. I do know that one of the presidents had a convertible. One or multiple presidents, actually. But I'm trying to remember this particular one. If you know who that president is, let me know down in the comments. In fact, they have die-cast models of other vehicles. That's the John F. Kennedy vehicle. The one from Dallas. There's one of the German vehicles for the president of Germany. premier, president. I'm not sure what you call them. It's a Mercedes-Benz down here. Definitely a limo format. And I'm not sure what country's flag that is. That's obviously a parade car. Of course, they're not going to whitewash history here. Here's one from the 30s and 40s. I think you can figure out the rest, who that could have been riding in that one. And they got a few different versions of that too. In fact, that's the person himself. Right next to a model of Stalin in his vehicle. Here's another country's flag I don't know. Actually, that's a papal flag. I believe this is one of the Popemobiles. Okay, there's another one right here. Most of his vehicles are white now. So that's what that is. Okay, if you grew up in America and you were a young male, I guarantee you had a few of these in your toy box. I was just talking to a gentleman here. I've been to the Dallas Toy Show, which was a big trade show, swap meet basically. And some of these vehicles that were completely roached out were going for several $100s. It was amazing. I'm trying to see if there's any that I can remember from my childhood. And I really don't know. But it does have the Oscar Mayer Wienermobile. That's cool. There's the Mach 5 from Speed Racer. I think my brother had one of those. He really liked watching that show. And nothing's really jumping out on me here. You get one, you get a bunch. In fact, you had collection cases of them. And this is the main office here. And that gentleman in the distance, I imagine, is the owner. It's got a nice little Corvette there. This is the salon and spa gallery. But it looks more like somebody's office. But it's not open. It's not a place you can tour through. Mom had one of those bag hair dryers. It would have a hose. I think hers was round. And just filled your head with hot air. And this is more the older style, which you just sat underneath it. Put this on the table and put a chair in front of it. So some of the old-timey items. Including the old barber pole. And the history of the barber pole, I understand, is the white was for shaving. Yeah. The red was for blood, because a lot of times the barber is also the dentist and the surgeon. So, of course, we got to go Americana and have the blue stripe on there as well. And the old barber chair. It's been a while since I've seen one this old. So being a car and a toy museum, you can have the best of both worlds with a pedal car. Looks like it had a little side brake there. Probably do some spin outs. But those are some serious rubber tires. They're pneumatic, so that's a little bit of an upgrade of a pedal car. They got these little go-kart racers. And when I say they're pretty little. I don't think I could fit in either one of these. But pretty cool race car design here. But they are the Grand Prix go-kart. This one right here. This is the Volkswagen section. And the Beetle is probably one of the most diverse vehicles when it comes to modifications I've seen. And here's a Baja style racing Beetle. Just to give you an example, they're all rear engine. They just modify the heck out of them for whatever purpose they wanted. You have the dune buggies, you have this Baja racer. Very versatile. This is one you probably see in a resort. I kind of think of Fantasy Island, even though the colors are different. But it's got wicker seats in there. So imagine if this was a resort vehicle, you can drive around it and take your guests around the resort. Definitely want to be driving on the freeway. Here's a model they need to bring back, the Carmagia. I'm trying to think. I think I knew somebody who owned one of these one time in their history. Very cool classic Beetle. Not a Beetle, Volkswagen. It's from the 67. So late 60s, early 70s. It was a cool looking vehicle. So Volkswagen was born during wartime. And this is an amphibious vehicle from 1944. It's called the Type 166 Schwimmwagen. I mean it, Schwimmwagen. It's a amphibious vehicle you can drive in the water or on land. Definitely, probably for more desert areas that do have rivers and maybe near an ocean there. It'll work on lakes too. I have a friend that is in the Cushman Club. He's got one or two Cushmans, and this is a military version of it. And it is a two-wheel scooter of sorts, like a motorcycle. Looks like they got a little trailer there to carry a small machine gun. But this one was used because it's usable for paratroopers. They would drop them and be able to do reconnaissance with them or whatever application they needed. And this one's got a military police shield on the front of it. This is the Volkswagen Thing. That's right, T-H-I-N-G, Thing. And it's probably one of the most versatile or highly customizable vehicles out there. I do see a little label there that says less than 5 gallons. I'm guessing the fire marshal likes that. But it's a very cool vehicle. This color, I think on a Jeep has a very similar color. It's called Bikini. It's some name Bikini. But this is a rear-engine vehicle. And yep, the V8 Thing right there. Has the old style air filter on top. How cool is that? It's very adventure type looking there. The old style VW lights with the amber red and the backup light there. More Carmagias. But here's the Beetle. This is a convertible one, obviously. I just love this color scheme where it's kind of a little bit of chrome, red, white wall tires, and black. I mean, that's a cool color combination. I have a friend, he's got a Hyundai hybrid, and it's got this color scheme on there. Actually, his is a lot darker red. Still very cool combo there. Bob, you probably should get the white walls on your vehicle. How would that look? VW bus? Nope. This is a VW pickup. It's got the VW bus front. It's got the big bus type steering wheel there. Put a big bed in the back. So I can cover it up if you need to. And how cool is that? The big old VW logo on the front. How many of you have been on a road trip with your sibling and one sibling punches the other and says, "Slick bug," every time they saw a Beetle? They even had the rear split window. These were pretty popular with the Beetles and the Corvettes, but they stopped making them because of visibility issues. But it's cool to see it here in the museum. Before the days of air conditioning, you had to figure out how to cool yourself off. A lot of times they had these things that you could mount to the window and you could put ice in them. You know, collect air here, and that air ran through there and goes into the vehicle, going across the ice, which cools down the car inside. That's called a dual cab transporter. It's kind of like the pickup, but it has another bench seat in the back there. I always like the designs of these. This is kind of a different color red, like a reddish orange, kind of a cream color. But I would like to see one with red and white and be the full bus there. Really cool. Nice little conversation topic. And you take road trips in it and rest in the back if you need to. So the Beetle is always covered as something different. This is a dragster. So for the drag strip from Sturgeon and Clifton. And Bobby Clifton was the driver there. They got pictures of it popping a wheelie. And this little bar back here kept it from flipping over backwards. How cool is that? Not street legal, that's for sure. It's won a few trophies though. You might think this is a Humvee. You would be wrong. This is a Wombat powered by a Volkswagen engine. A lot shorter than the Humvee. I'm standing way over it. But sure does look like a Humvee, doesn't it? I heard you speaking earlier. This is not a Volkswagen product, but it is a tribute to Volkswagen product. It looks like the fender of one of the Beetles there into a little mini bike. And they got a few go-karts here for kids. I don't think I'd fit in any of these. I am skipping so much here, but it's absolutely free. If you're in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, it's worth the drive. It's about an hour drive from my house. Just looking at this car, it's got some custom pinstriping down there. So the original van life, the Westalias, they still make them, but they don't look like the old classic VW buses. But you got the campy green colors here. Probably a pop top to get a little more headroom. You got the bench, the table, a little kitchen with a little gas stove right there. This is like a perfect size for a road trip. So this does have a pop top, and there is a bed at the top of this one. I didn't catch it till this gentleman just showed it to me.
Yeah, my dad did the exact one.
This is very cool. And it's more of a bus style, which is more about carrying passengers than having your own camper van. I do like how the windows pop open here for ventilation. You definitely get some ventilation through here with no issues. Love the top windows as well. One of the biggest collectors of these is Gabriel Iglesias, the comedian. He's got a bunch of vans. They're very nice and pristine condition. This one's got an L-shaped couch in the back. So, have a good conversation there while going down the road. And a nice travel rack on top to carry your luggage. Here's another thing, an orange thing. Literally called the Thing. That's an amusement motorcycle. Being right next to a motor scooter, you can see this is just for amusement. Maybe parades and circuses and things such as that. Something real tiny just to amuse people with. This scooter right here, I thought it was going to be a Vespa, but it's actually a German one called a Zundap. Zundap Bella motor scooter. If I butcher it, that's how they spell it here. But right next to it is a Vespa, a Piaggio Vespa 90cc. And the nice things about Vespas compared to even today, they're all metal. They're not a bunch of plastic components. That front windbreak is going to be metal there. But I've been pricing the Vespa, the GTS 310s I've been looking at, and they're about $8,100 to $8,500. So not cheap, but they're a lot better built. And it's got that old world charm there. So Jacob kind of glossed over this one. I found out about this museum through Jacob the Carpetbagger. Watch the channel, subscribe if you haven't already. But this one's got an oil lantern for a headlight, and this is a shaft drive. And notice there's no chain there. It's that little shaft right there. As you pedal here, it's going to twist that shaft and then spin that wheel. So shaft drive, just like shaft drive motorcycles, which we call shafties. They had them on bicycles too. No chain to load. And that's a Jawa. I'm tempted to go over every vehicle here because they're all just fascinating. It's called a Jawa. It's actually a Czechoslovakian motorcycle. So that makes more than one Czechoslovakian vehicle here. This is a Harley. It's a Harley Davidson scooter, and it's called the Topper. It's from the 1960s. I bet you didn't know Harley made scooters. Here's one right here. They have some custom built ones, some of the mom and pop shop versions, you know. Everybody's heard of Orange County choppers. This one is Von Dutch, not Van Dutch, Von Dutch. Looking at too many vans here. This one's a Von Dutch. They have an old classic Indian trike. It looks like you have a little soft spot there where people can sit on there, or you can transport some things if need be. But they also have a Vespa. It's more like a rickshaw, or as pedicab is what we call them here, the bicycle-driven ones. But this one is with a scooter, and so you can have right in the back and have somebody else moving around the area. I wish they would bring these back. These were pretty cool. There's yet another example of a Cushman. This one doesn't look military. Here's another trike by Harley Davidson. And this one's interesting. It's got the suicide shifter. You have to reach over with your right hand while pulling in on the clutch with your left hand. The clutch is missing from there. Looks like they took them off just to keep people from wanting to touch it. But what really caught my eye on this one is this is during the AMF period. Yes, those are the people that make bowling alleys that bought the Harley-Davidson brand name, and it's since been sold. But there were some quality issues being reported during that time period. But yes, AMF, the bowling company, made Harley-Davidsons for a while. This is a 1960 Lloyd LS Combi, LS 600, which is apparently really rare German minibus. And this one belonged to Pan Am World Airways, or at least it's being painted up to look like it was with Pan Am. But a lot of nostalgia for Pan Am that went bankrupt, early 80s, late 70s. But it was one of the first airlines that was truly known for international jet set flying. And it just didn't make it. But a nice, cool piece of history right here. Here's something that's definitely not American. This is a cargo van by Nissan. It's got some interesting headlights here, but very much Japanese. You can't miss it. This is definitely Japanese. Here we go, a Porsche. I say Porsche here. It may be Porsche, and with another label saying less than 5 gallons, little safety label. This one is from 1956. And I think it's interesting, the straps on the back there, the leather straps to hold that lid down. But I'm assuming this is a front engine. Well, it doesn't say if it's front engine or rear engine, but it does say it does have a mid tank there and a fire extinguisher on the rail inside there. So probably something you want to drive a little bit faster than the other cars on the road. A couple of roadsters here. These are Hondas. This one is 65 and this one is 69 roadsters. They don't make them anymore. Maybe Honda needs to bring that back. This is an office, so this is the break area for the employees. But they don't want you touching that stuff. That is for the employees. Got to go back down the stairs here, but they do have corporate events here, so if you want to host it here in the museum, you can rent the area. Howdy y'all, Michael here. This is crazy. Future Michael here. I totally messed up. In fact, I just replicated it. So this is my Canon G7X. I'm sorry, everything's backwards. I can't figure out how to do it, but I want to see filming myself here. And this camera, very low batteries. I ripped through 3 batteries yesterday. And so when I hit the record button with my thumb, you'll hear. And when you stop recording, you hear. Sounds like a triple beep. And so I accidentally hit the record button, started walking around, just swinging my camera down low because I'm not filming anything. When I came up to film something, I got it all centered and ready to go and stopped it from recording. And it was a whole section. By the way, batteries are about dead. You'll see the flashing red right there. This whole section of toys, from 10 toys to, just a whole history of things. And I talked about it a lot. I talked about some things I saw from my childhood there. And, some stuff was much older, collectible antique type stuff. They did have models. They had a model of a Bugatti, which you may see the actual thing a little bit later in the video. And then they had a FDNY hook and ladder wagon. It was a model. It was a scale model of it, built in 1902. And it was a salesman's model that they took for the New York Fire Department to look at, a hook and ladder truck that was horse-drawn. And that was actually restored by some firefighters, and I cannot tell you what agency because dummy me got backwards on the record and stop function on my Canon camera. And I was worried how long this video is going to be, but there's a whole section of that museum that's going to be missing now. So definitely go to the museum. It's got some great stuff. If you're into antique toys and
this is the history on that. Go check it out. But the ironic thing is I was recording this video and I made the same mistake again with my iPhone. So here we are, batting 1,000. Back to Michael from yesterday at the museum.
In the toy section, they got these little side galleries everywhere, including some of the movie-style robots here. This is a Rock'em Sock'em robot, and I wonder if it really works because they got wiring here. It's not plugged in, but this thing may knock you out. And you got your friend from the moon, Bigaloo. That's a huge robot. Did that give you nightmares if you woke up to that, little kid? It's a pretty big size thing. He even has a compass at his feet. Back in the 50s, 60s, and 70s, this is probably the most common style robot there. This is Robbie the Robot from Forbidden Planet, and this was a kit that you dress up. And I would imagine you want to paint it up a little bit, but looks like not necessarily. This looks like it's supposed to be black. But I've seen this style robot more in the shows growing up than I've seen any others. There's another similar version of it right there. There's a robot that's really a dinosaur. Space wasn't a thing during this time, but having spaceman was. In fact, there's another version of it. Battery operated spaceman. Next to another robot. An Italian robot. And it's actually a gumball machine. So you put your coin in there. I don't know what price it would be. And it would fall out, and you grab it out of the crotch. Okay, this one I think is pretty cool. This is a Japanese robot. The mouth was lit up red, and it's got a little Jacob's ladder right here where spark would just keep flying up from the bottom between the two metal elements there. This Flash Gordon phaser pistol, I guess you call it, or signal pistol. But it's one of those when you crank the trigger, it throws sparks in there in the little chamber. Bumper cars, they even have those here, including the Lusse, L-U-S-S-E auto scooter. One of the more popular, not in the amount of cars, but one of the more popular as far as being one of the most fun ones out there. And this is how it conducts the roof with that little metal strip there. Gallery 2 contains race cars that are custom scratch built. So being custom built, does that mean they were kits or they just made it from scratch? I'm gonna guess these are kits. But here's some driving school models. It's a working motor, so they know how to work on them. This is the Marmon Wasp, the 1911 Marmon Wasp, which won the first Indianapolis 500. Not this very model, but that's what the car looked like. That's pretty fascinating. It even has a little tail fin there to keep it going straight. A 1913 Raceabout by Mercedes-Benz. There's an article about Ron Surgeon. I believe most of this is his collection. But that car you can see downstairs. It's an RC Top Fuel car. And it actually does run. It's got a gas engine on there with a spark plug. And there's some nitrous on the side here. Out of 3 is salesman samples and patent models. I had a young lady in there. She was laughing at me because she saw me just going across, panning the camera, watching the Top Fuel racer. She thought that was hilarious. I don't think she knew. I saw her talking about it though. It is awkward having the camera out in public. Here's a briefcase. You can carry in the restroom and have your own toilet seat covers. These are all sales sample. This is for people to buy, but these are the miniatures of everything, like this meat locker here with a display. Forklifts. I have some models of the coffins here and the vaults that they go in for burial. Even toilets. They got little portable toilets here. Got a gallery of just Monopoly games. In fact, the very first versions of it. Finance and Fortune and Rich Uncle. An anti-Monopoly Busted Trust game. Got some small inches here as well. Some of them may just be models. I'm looking at these thinking they're models, but these look like they actually run. And this is the non-automotive section. And apparently he is a dog owner / lover. In fact, this is a dog house. That's amazing. I'm sorry, it's a dog palace. I could not figure out what this was until I read the story about the appraiser. This is a jockey chair. So they got to make weight so they can ride the horses for horse racing. But if they didn't, this is how they measured how much they weigh. They would sit in this chair so they're not pushing on anything, trying to make themselves a little lighter. This right here is an animal crate for when you take your animals on the railroad. In fact, if you need to water your dog, you pour the water in there and it'll get to the water dish. These are brothel chairs. They're fully adjustable, and I'm not going to explain why. And I thought it was done, and then I walked out here. Holy cow. This place keeps going. And here's Zoltar. This one is a free Zoltar. You can push the red button and he should light up.
Your small payment will reap great benefits if you listen to these words of wisdom from the all-knowing Zoltar. The best place to find a helping hand is at the end of your arm. Yes, you must work for happiness. So go on, take your two hands, get some money out of your pocket, and let Zoltar tell you more.
This one's free, and they actually have the tickets right here. And you would have your fortune on the back of them. Here's a pretty large model of the Titanic with not enough lifeboats on it. Fully lit up though. The wires on top were for the radio, so they were 3 long wires that went from one end of the ship to the other to transmit CW messages or Morse code messages. And I don't believe it's the same Morse code that we use today, but similar. This is a car plane. The wings fold back, you can actually drive it down the road or take off with it. Concept, not really manufactured on a large scale, but there's the motor that powered when you're on the road, and of course the motor that powered you in flight. Speaking of the color scheme I like, here it is in a Bugatti Veyron with that very distinctive front end. Just 2 passengers, $500,000 to $1 million per seat. They've been around for a while, Bugatti, that is. This is a Type 55 1932 model. This is actually a recreation. It's not the actual original thing, but you can get an idea of what it looked like. And the same color scheme as the one we just looked at. A few race cars out here as well, including Formula One and NASCAR. And I'm guessing these are drag cars. 468 horsepower. Your top fuel dragster right here. And this one looks like it's got tiny tires in the back, but they're only tiny when they're just sitting there. But when they start spinning, they balloon up huge. This right here is your funny car. Look at the belt on that engine, just massive. You actually have to lift it up to get in your seat. Way back in the back. There's a famous Lambo, the Diablo, and the Aventador. If you like to travel for work, this is the way to do it. It's Woody's Bicycle and Clock Repair. Old Woody's Bicycle and Clock Repair. See what time it is on the side of the road. But also you have a trailer with a teardrop camper on the back. Okay, I kept mentioning it, but this is more of what I want right here. This color scheme right here. And it's got a nice little yellow and gray awning. And it's got a little table in there with a little water pump to pump your water out. I don't think this one has a bed that comes down though. But if you need an extra bed, you can tow it right behind there. Little teardrop trailer. It's a kitchen in the back, and the bed's inside there. Here's another version of the Volkswagen bus. Just different color scheme. I had a blanket that had that pattern on there. Really enjoy it. My aunt made it for my brother and I. We both had them. What a nice little thing to travel around with. Kind of relive some history. Take it down Route 66 or something like that. Those are the Westfalias. Those are the Volkswagen camper vans. Here's some of the older travel trailers, and I'm not really familiar with this one. Let's take a quick peek inside. It's a 1952 Airfloat. Got your kitchen, your living room area up front, And your bed's in the back there. I'm guessing you have a bathroom. That may be the bathroom there. Or that's just a door. May not have the bathroom. I don't know. A Big Boy Restaurant drive-in sign. It's got a little button there and you order over the speaker. So Crosley wagon. Surfboard on top. Of course, I cannot skip the Mystery Machine. The Scooby-Doo in here. It's got a little mystery bed in the back. A little scene from there. Seats are kind of normal up front. It's a Ford. But it is fully painted as the mystery van. I'll get some eye catchers. Yeah, there's a whole row of supercars in here. A couple rows of them. And I really don't know much about them, so you've got to come out here and check it out yourself. And down here we have the British section. All the different British vehicles out there, including the MG. Not quite familiar with all of them. This is Aston Martin. I'm reading signs, obviously. Here's your Bentley. And here's the more modern day Rolls-Royce Phaeton. It's a 2009 model. More than I can afford. And of course, more supercars. That one's not. That's just a Batmobile. But these definitely are. McLaren. 100% hand built. The 550 AMG. Corvette. That's a 2024. Color's a little different on the camera, but it's a very, very canary yellow. The Ferrari, the Maserati, a serious Land Rover here. I never tried to run these punching machines. I would be embarrassed with it to see what I had, but I did do sparring and karate, more like Yamaru, but very vintage. And I am not going to give in to temptation. I am not going to punch this one. Something tells me this is not what a bear truck normally looked like back then. But they do have some engines for you to look at. A few, actually. A whole section of Mercedes-Benz here. I remember riding one that belonged to someone we knew at the church. It was a diesel back in the 1980s. That was the thing, was a Mercedes-Benz diesel car. You don't see very many diesel cars anymore. Diesel's actually cheaper to make until they start putting all the emission restrictions on them. Then it becomes a lot more expensive. But it is a lot more efficient. So I don't know if that makes up for it completely. But it's dang near $5 a gallon here. Here's the Enterprise and a little slingshot. Like this old-timey tow truck here. It's 24-hour towing. Towing rate's 6 chickens plus 3 cents a mile. So here's a copy of George Barris's Dragula car. This is a race car that Grandpa had. But this is not the original. This is actually a replica of it. This is the 1946 Maxim Street Rod Red Screamer with some truck tires on it. Holy cow. Thing's big. Right next to it is a Ford Ranchero, which is kind of like an El Camino. It's a car and a truck at the same time. I like the original bets. They had their own class and style. Nothing like the modern day was, other than 4 wheels and a steering wheel. But very chic looking. Here's a 1936 Cord 810 Cabriolet. What's amazing is it's got the flip-up headlights there, the hidden headlights. In 1936 they came up with that. This is a 1958 Studebaker Silverhawk 3-speed. So Studebaker was a very popular car. You had another company that went under. I am on my last battery, but there's so much more to see here that I just can't record because I don't have enough battery life. But y'all need to get out here and check it out. This section is a section of misfit cars, or cars that are not commonly in the United States or didn't do so well, but still incredible. If you ever traveled to Thailand, and a lot of Southeast Asian countries, they'll have these things called tuk-tuks. And it's basically a motorcycle or a trike that is for passengers. And some of these are a little bit smaller, and you kind of grip hard going through with a tuk-tuk. But this is a 1969 tuk-tuk. It's basically a rickshaw that's motorized. I didn't know this, but Porsche made diesel tractors as well. Now here's an example. Didn't know that. At 1.21 gigawatts, this thing hits 88 miles an hour. You're gonna see some serious stuff. And this one is cool. This is a 1954 Lincoln Cosmopolitan celebrating the Pan American Highway being completed. This is odds and ends section here. And these are models. These are not real vehicles because you can't see through the windows because they're not really windows. These are some oddballs that are around here. Little bubbles. I'm thinking this is like a 1980s car that came out. I remember seeing these. They were out for a short time. Actually, this is a 1979 Glenette Series Roadster. So there you go. Read the signs, Michael. You'll learn a lot. And here we are, the ones that we don't know why they exist. So Pontiac Fiero. Those were pretty popular. I've ridden in a couple of those. A little pickup, but it's three-wheel, which I'm kind of curious how well that worked with a load shift and all. 1937. It's called Tempo. This is a 1957 Nash Metropolitan, single owner. This is the dreaded Pinto. And the color's a little off on the camera from what I'm actually seeing. The dreaded Pinto. Right behind that bumper was the gas tank. And of course, you got all this electrical wiring. Somebody gets rear-ended in a Pinto, the electrical wiring goes right into the gas tank, and boom, you got a bomb. Ah, the Pontiac gas tank. If you ever watched the show Survivor, one of the first few seasons, they gave away one of these to a contestant on the Survivor. And just a funky looking car. It's a Pontiac Aztec. Pontiac's not around anymore, but it absorbed into GM. It's one of the GM products. But only lasted about 4 years, from 2001 to 2005. Didn't last very long at all. There's the AMC Pacer. What an ugly car. I believe the Mirthmobile was an AMC Pacer. Say what you want. I love this vehicle right here. This is a 1988 Suzuki Samurai. It's got some extras on there, but it was an underpowered Jeep. It's a lot smaller than a Jeep, but it was fun to drive. 5-speed manual transmission. They finally took it off the market because of rollovers. In fact, it was my brother's that had one. He had the 86 one. He had like one of the first two in the state of Texas. And boy, we drove that thing until the wheels almost fell off. Really cool vehicle, and I really miss it. I really do. This one looks like it might be a automatic. I haven't seen that before. But this needs a little TLC cleaning. You can do about 60 miles an hour. If you get a good tailwind, you go about 65 miles an hour with this thing. But it was fun off-road, and it was just a fun vehicle altogether. Not your family vehicle, but a fun one to have. In fact, there's still several of them on the road, and there's a big following for them. They're great tow vehicles for RVs because they weigh next to nothing. Started out with a 1-liter engine. A lot of people replace that engine with a little bit bigger engine. AC is not great unless you're on the highway, so it's a trade-off, but a great vehicle. Dang, I wish these were still on the road. I got out of the section with vehicles that never should have been. The London Taxi. This would be kind of fun to have. I wouldn't mind driving this. But the steering wheel's on the left. So this is an Americanized version of it. It's not a true taxi, but look how much room there is back there. The huge floorboard. Going to the back seat here. Seats all the way back here. A big space open there. Oh, you got seats in there that fold down. And I'm sorry guys, I'm not touching the vehicle, so I can't really block the glare. But you can kind of see it in person. Little K car, pop top here. A small one. That's got to be Japanese. That's Subaru Sandbar. I don't even know who makes Subarus. I think that's Japanese. And look at this smart car with, just for the heck of it, doors. That same brother of mine has a smart car. It's got their company vehicle wrap on it, my brother and his wife. And you can't miss the Ecto 1 Ghostbuster vehicle. Obviously a remake, but still cool as all get out. The original movie cars kept breaking down. But there it is, the Ecto 1. Looks like it might have been it's got a swing door in the back. Might have been an ambulance at one time. Still very cool. Wait, what? Jerry Seinfeld had a Volkswagen Beetle? Sure did. Had some skis on the back. 1955 Volkswagen Beetle. Mr. Seinfeld himself. Okay, these are celebrity cars. Johnny Carson's Mercedes-Benz. I think I've seen video of him driving one of these. That's a very young Johnny Carson. He didn't look like that when he was driving this Mercedes. Kid Rock. It's got a Rolls-Royce Silver Spirit. 1989. That same color scheme I like. And Pope Francis's 1966 Mercedes-Benz. Got the Texas flag on there. Looks like Jerry Garcia's truck, and I think this is a truck they use to haul their equipment around. It's a Grateful Dead pickup. All their gear in the back of it. I didn't even know Mercedes-Benz had a bus. Kind of like the Volkswagen Beetle here. Looks like it had signage on the top too. But like I said, I'm running out of battery, so I can't really show you all the vehicles. But you can store your own vehicle here if you got a collector vehicle. They put it under plastic in the same area that they store the museum vehicles. But these are privately owned vehicles. They just want stored here. In fact, that's a blow-up cover over it to protect it. I do like seeing the studio lights with the diffusers here. Looks like a studio setup up there, getting ready to photograph him, get him ready for sale. I almost walked out and missed this one. It's the Bat Cycle. This is where Robin was sent. And in fact, when they're going down the freeway, Robin be launched from this to chase down the bad guy. Can't miss the slot car racer. And this one's a little nicer than the ones I had. Holy cow. This one's got some money invested in it. They got the Asian section of cars. This is a Datsun. And believe it or not, Datsun was how they labeled the cars coming in the United States because they didn't want to give Nissan a bad name. So they came out with the Datsun first and then eventually switched it over to Nissan, which the Americans liked them. So, story on the Datsun. And in the hallways, they actually have paintings all through the place. This one's called Decisions. Barn Find. And I guess that's their dog. I just can't keep up. They got more galleries here. Driving school models. So everything from engines to cars. So you can know how everything works here. Gallery 5 is the Marklin. And I'm guessing that's a vehicle. The Marklin Alo Baskun. And I guess they made boats as well. Looks like for troop transport here. So there's the Olympia. So boats and cars. Gallery 6 is pre-war. So I guess these were pre-war toys and models and such. Little chest. Piggy banks with combinations on them for little safes. So these are all pre-war. Gallery 8 is the Titanic in World War II. So we see some Titanic displayed items here. But this looks like World War II items. They did not make civilian vehicles during World War II. They were all put to military use. It was illegal to make a civilian vehicle. Here's a section on the Titanic. Full details and another model of it. Of course, the New York Times. My sister-in-law's grandmother was talking to us about the Titanic. She lived till 102. But she remembers running to catch the paperboy every day to get the latest news on the Titanic. Another gallery, oddities and rare Japanese. So Some rare Japanese cars here. Are these Toyota Centuries with the Imperials. And some more tin. Probably worth a lot more than I can afford. Just for these old tin toys. A little automatron here. It's basically your first animatronics back in the day. I mean, look at the leather. That thing is dried out. That's old. And some more oddities. And this uniform looks like it's been well used. Oh, this is from The Godfather. Okay, this is from one of the characters in The Godfather. So this is in The Godfather Part 3. So let me know down in the comments who wore this jacket. There's fake blood on there. That's what that is. And this is a contraption for the headless lady, because she was sitting there and lose her head. And I guess I can reattach it. I hope I do. An old Catholic altar here. And glass eyes, of all things. Prosthetic glass eyes. You got Ronald McDonald and Big Boy here. And we exit. Not through the gift shop. This is a free museum. Oh, there it is. Sparky. Sparky the smart car. I got Crunch. That was actually pretty impressive, pretty fun. And my battery red light's flashing here. So guys, we'll catch you on the next one. I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm having fun doing it. But for now, y'all take care. Be safe. Bye.